the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of healing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an internet, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's health?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own bottles. It's only $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 773-846-3091. Thank you in advance for your support.
Hi, my name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois, and also live on Facebook. If you would like more information, you can reach us at www.facebook.com/TomaNation2 or give us a call at 773-952-8302. Now I am going to recite our opening. In the name of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansal, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jahi, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Omari, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty Spirit, and it is to that essence which I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now I am going to recite the 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1. We believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2. We believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3. We believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6, we believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7, we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a denial objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, vaccinations, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the black communities of America and the world. Number 10, we believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11, we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the black community of weapons, break up the black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young black males under the undercover code name April 2029. And number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe, under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Rahim Quasad Aton, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. Our goal: to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can't rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and/or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now we're going to recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Everyone put your right fist in the air and repeat after me. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it, this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million's back of it, whose destiny depends on it. The red, black, and green of it, old flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it, maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it, pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it. Thanks to God for giving it, this great flag of mine. Please keep your right fist raised high in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Black power, black power, black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people.
Peace and blessings, family. I am Minister Taharka J. Shakur. I am the youth minister of the Temple of Mercy Association. And before I get started today, I would like to again do our opening. In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one that exists within us, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time, the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites as Amun-Ra and Aton. Among the Hebrews is Ansof Yahweh and Elohim. Among the Christians is Lord God and Jehovah. Among the Muslim and Islamic world is Allah, the one God. Among the Rastafarians is Jah, Rastafari. Among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa is Omari, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names and many more refers to the same one eternal divine spirit. And it is to that essence that I give reverence and submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of the Black man and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the lost 13th tribe. Born here in North America and of a Nubian Kemetic lineage, I further proclaim that the blood of all nations flow through our veins. And I greet you in the ancient holy words of that of our ancestors in peace, hotep, shalom, assalamu alaikum, habaragani, alafia, and ashe. Again, I am the youth minister of this wonderful movement, and I would like to welcome you to Toma Nation's weekly worship service. We are all-inclusive Black conscious movement dedicated to the social, economic, and spiritual survival of Black people in urban America. Founded by our leader and teacher and guide, Minister Rahim Kased Aton, co-founded by Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and our First Lady is Sister Makita Aisha Aton. I am not the main speaker for today, but I do have the chance to speak to you for a few minutes before I have the honor to introduce our speaker with the lecture, Let Us Make Man. But I do want to share a few of the announcements that we have because I think it is very important for the public and those listening to know what we are doing here in the Toma Nation. And I'll start off with this. All righteous members shall observe the month of Ramadan in accordance with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by fasting in the month of December. The purpose is to keep the righteous members from partaking in the celebration of the falsehood of the birthday of Jesus Christ. Also, to prevent the righteous from partaking in the celebration of the falsehood of Satan Claus, I meant to say Santa Claus. During the daylight hours, the righteous are to abstain from food, drink, and sex until after sundown. It's even more smoking, everything, anything that you do. You should abstain from it in the morning time. The righteous will also abstain from eating meat throughout the month of December. It is clearly stated in the Quran, Fasting is prescribed for you, so you may guard against evil. In the book, Islam, the Religion of Humanity by Maulana Ali, he states that fasting also means refraining from any kind of evil. In fact, abstination from food is only a step to make you realize that if you can, in obedience to the Creator, abstain from which is otherwise lawful, how much necessary is it that you should abstain from evil, which was always and forbidden by the Creator? On Sunday, December 25th, the Toma family will hold a day of appreciation from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. All members and friends, please see Sister Makita, who is the First Lady of the Temple of Mercy Association, if you would like to bring a dish for that day. You are invited to join us on this day to hear the truth about Christmas. While the world is observing and participating in the devil's holiday, as I said earlier, Satan Claus, we will be fasting, teaching, and sharing and reflecting on the upcoming Kwanzaa 7-day celebration that starts on Monday, the 26th of December, till January 1st. Also, you can join us on December 31st as the Toma Nation family holds its annual night of reflection from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. All members, guests, and friends, you are invited to join us on this day at the Toma headquarters at 616 East on 71st Street. That's also the address for December 25th. It's a Sunday, so we didn't think to add it in there. You know where we're going to be at. To reflect on the last 12 months that the Creator allowed you to experience. The true New Year is in April. More specifically, we say April 1st, because that is when nature begins to spring back from its hibernation. While the rest of the world is observing and participating in riotous living, we'll be teaching, sharing, and reflecting. Those were a few different announcements, but I think I want to take a little bit of time to go a little deeper. We in the Temple of Mercy are holding a fundraiser. Thank you, Sister Ebony. We are holding a fundraiser and it is coming to an end, but it is the holiday season for those who celebrate those type of holidays and as well those who celebrate Kwanzaa. We are having a cheesecake fundraiser. The details are all over our Toma Nation page, but we would like to have all of our orders submitted by December 8th. If you want to get a cheesecake for your family, your friends, or even for yourself, please reach out to us. You can message us right on our Toma Nation page. If you're looking for this on YouTube, our information to get in contact is there as well, so you can get your order in. The cakes will be sent to us to be delivered out on the 19th of December. On the 18th, I thought it was the 18th. I wanted to say 18th. The 18th, the orders will be here, and so we can start shipping them out and deliver them to you, or you can come pick them up from us. Now, with those announcements, I would mention another announcement, but I'll wait until we got our flyer put together for that one. But I want to go back and talk a little bit more about Ramadan, if that is okay. Ramadan denotes that the use of excessive energy. It means burning. Ramadan means burning. For 30 days from sunrise to sunset, our body is making demands on us from within and from without. But our heart is saying no. To please Allah, the Muslim will not drink, eat food, watch television, engage in sports, go shopping for pleasure, such as shopping for shoes, etc. The Muslims / the righteous will not do any of these things for his own pleasure. Married people will not engage in sexual activity during the daylight hours during this fast. The more oppressive and opposing the environment is towards righteousness, the more determination the believer must have in order to complete the fasting during Ramadan. The human being is a creature of influence, and as such, it is very easy for him to come under the influence of anything that he gives himself to. Without conscious thought, a man can become obsessed with the idea of fasting. Fasting without sensible guidelines and intelligent, rational goals can lead to an obsessive behavior. The Muslim righteous must strive harder during this month to combat evil influence. It is during this month to combat evil influence. It is during this month Allah has promised the believers greater blessings for his efforts than he would normally receive. It takes maximum effort, especially in America, to complete the fast. The temptations to commit sin in America are greater than any other place on earth. I will pause from reading because I want to just talk a little bit about just fasting in general. As we know, the lecture for today is Let Us Make Man Again. We have to understand that man have been led astray today. And one of the closest ways and one of the best ways for us to get back in alignment with the true creator, with the divine within ourselves, is to remove a lot of the distractions. And so when people think of and hear fasting, they think it's just from food. They don't understand that it has to be I like how Ramadan says a burning, but a casting away of all things that don't benefit you. And when I say that, I say there's a lot of people we need to fast from. There's a lot of things that we watch on TV we need to fast from. There are a lot of things that we engage ourselves in that we need to fast from. Some of us need to fast from speaking because the words that come out of our mouth are not beneficial to those around us. See, when we start to do that, we start to then hear an internal voice inside of our head that has been silent for so long, that has been ignored for so long. But when we fast, we begin to hear it again. One thing that the minister suggests in the Temple of Mercy is we're fasting to do some type of spiritual studying, to be filling yourself up with spiritual food in that time. Have a spiritual conversation with somebody. Listen to some spiritual tapes. Listen to, I know right now we have the Ava Muhammad tape that a few of us are continuing to listen to, and it talks about rebellion, and we know how powerful Sister Ava was. Or go listen to some Farrakhan lectures, or if you got a real preacher to go listen to, like what's one of my favorite preachers to listen to, Ike, Reverend Ike, or Miles Morales. Go get you some spiritual food. Miles Monroe, thank you. I said the wrong name. Thank you so much. I know I called him Morales. I was talking about Spider-Man. Go get you some black Spider-Man. Thank you, Minister Omari from back there. But you want to fill yourself up on with some other food. One other book that I suggest reading, which is actually a really good time because it also talks about fasting. It's one of the prescribed readings of the Temple of Mercy, called Black Root Science. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Black Root Science. One thing I say about that, and it's something that I love the minister has picked up on, we understand the black man and the black woman is gods. But how do we get back to that godship? A lot of us are shown and talk about it, but even in the nation, I don't see them having a framework to get you back to that God level. They'll make you better man, stronger women, but not God. The only person they truly call God in person is Farah Muhammad. They say he is the only person that came as God in person. So they don't have a blueprint specifically to have you become that God again that we forgot that we were. You even look at the Moorish Science Temple. They don't have a blueprint for you to become that God that you have always been. I was so happy when I joined Toma Nation years ago, because I seen that there was a blueprint that the minister put into place to help us get back to having that spiritual reawakening, to go from the beings that we are to those spiritual beings that we are supposed to be, the supreme beings, thank you, that we are supposed to get back to, knowing that our ancestors were the vice lords of the universe and of this planet, that we used to control things. We have to really look at that scripture when they say the last shall be first. And I don't want to go too far into Black Root Science teachings, but we just was studying it in our last Friday session. And one of the major things that I really want us to pay attention to is religions, right? We have to come out of them. The black man and black woman. Because if we are gods, why are we reading books that tell us about a God if we are the gods? So I want to go a little bit into that. How much time I got, Minister Omar? I'll take this 6 minutes to go deep into that and what I'm saying with that. Because in my message this morning, I've gotten into a habit of sending grand rising messages to uplift people's spirits in these last few weeks, because whenever I'm going through something, I end up noticing that if I uplift myself with something and send it out to other people, it also helps them. And so this message this morning, the creator got me because I thought I was going to put this whole message together to tear down the white man's religions and such and such. He said, no, don't send that message. Just post that on Facebook. But then send a message just inviting people to listen to class today. I said, okay, I'll do it that way. But in that message, I mentioned that the way that again, we use these books as guides, correct? These are beautiful guides to them. But even the God that is mentioned in these books is a specific God. It's not the God, it is a specific God. And I say read Black Root Science because it explains that on a deeper level. And the reason I say it explains that on a deeper level, and I'm going to go a little bit into it, then Minister Mars is going to bring this powerful message, let us make man again. Because in that book, it says, in the beginning of Genesis, it tells us, it says, let us make man in our image. So let's look at who is the us and what man were made. At that time period, there's a theory that, well, I accept it to be true. But there's stories about it that could be mythology. But there's a person that some people call the big head scientist. But I know he was just like us, a god, a black man who was a little upset and decided to do something a little different. He took a group of 60,000 people to an island called Palan, and he told them, let us make man in our image. See, a lot of things that we don't know about the Bible, and they tell us that these are books, both the Quran and Bible were translated from something else. And what I understand about how translation work, and I like how Black Root Science broke this down a few weeks ago when we had our study, it says it's hard to trace something going backwards. So if I was trying to figure out what something meant, I can't use English as the ground to say what it's saying. Because there's some words in English that ain't in other languages, and there's some words in other languages that ain't in English. Do you know in Africa they have over like 17 words for love and the different types of love, but all we got is love. So they might have had something in those books, and a lot of these stories that we have, I don't take nothing from any of the people in these books existing, but some of the stories that I put on them don't exist, or they were misinterpreted. So, for example, there's a story again about let us make man in our image. You think that's the creator that created the universe, because it tells you he made the heavens and the earth and all of this. And then he said, let us make man. But they told you that man was made on the third day. So wait a second. Let's look at that. If man was made on like the third or fourth day, who was made when they said, let us make man in our image then? What happened? And I like using the Bible for this because I'm going to do it in the way that it talks about one day being 1,000 years. So we're going to use that level. So if on day one, in the first 1,000 years, he created the heaven, the earth, and made light happen. In the next 1,000 years, I'm going to do it in the temple. We're going to make every one day 10 trillion years, because it say in Black Root Science, it say we've been here for 70 trillion years and only been dealing with them for 6,000 years. So the first 10 trillion years, we lived in darkness and decided that we needed some light. The next 10 trillion years, we was like, oh, let's put some other life on this planet. 3rd trillion years, like, oh, let's make us some more bodies and create more generations here. After all that took place, a few trillion years later, somebody was born and was like, hey, I see how we are. Now let's make another man to rule them. Because another thing people ignore, what controls this world is the Catholic Church, the Jewish religion, different religions. But what did the Bible tell you? That Satan has dominion over earth. So really, who is in control? Is God in control? Are these religions in the world, thank you, are these religions in the world actually giving reverence to even the God that created them? They're not even giving reverence to the God that created them. They're giving reverence to themselves. They created these religions to control and bound people. We have to release those bounds that are on the black man and the black woman. There's powerful studies in learning who Yahweh is. There's powerful studies in even understanding the story of Yaqub. But the same way how we have to get our people to see Jesus is not our Lord and Savior, but our brother, it's the same way we have to get people to understand that Yahweh is just our brother. He might be, and one of the last things I like to say on this point, dealing with that, we have to understand that we've always had a system as people. Black Root Science breaks it down as elders, chiefs, and judges. I like to say, technically, one elder was given the potentiality to govern Earth for 25,000 years. We learned that the Earth has cycles of 25,000 years. Everything changed in the temple from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And according to Black Root Science, that's the lineage that the person gets to be the king. So Yahweh just happens to be the king of this 25,000 year cycle. But that doesn't make him our God. he's still our brother. The same way if my brother I don't have a brother, but if I had a brother and he was the king or something, he the king, but he's still my brother. And that's the deepness of it. We have to see that we being brothers and sisters, and that's why the ministers say that the most efficient and powerful word that we can call each other is brother and sister. And once we get back into that divine union of one another, we'll see God for what it truly is, as us, always being within us and us being able to bring it out. But with that being said, I will be leaving you and I will be bringing to you the co-founder of this powerful movement, who has been, you see his picture right up there, who has been in this movement for the last 30 years, helping our leader and teacher and guide bring messages and keep the foundation of this movement together, along with our First Lady. So stand to your feet if you are in this room with me, and if you are in this Facebook land, snap your fingers, clap your hands, as I bring to you our minister, Omari Jahi Aton.
All right, please be seated. Thank you, Minister Harkin, for that introduction. Oh boy. Since the opening has already been established, protocol is in place, I'm going to get right into it because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. Again, welcome to the Temple of Mercy Association. This is a house dedicated to the observance of God. I am the co-founder of this great movement. My name is Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and along with our founder, Minister Rahim Kasset Aton, and our First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aton, we have nurtured and grown this great movement to what it is today for like Minister Taharka said, for the past 30 some odd years. The title of my lecture today is Let Us Make Man Again. Man was already made once, but just like soap, I don't know where this is going, but just like soap, today they have what they call new and improved. But when I look at humanity, I don't know if that's an improved version. So I think that we have to understand what it is to make a man. And when I say man, please understand that I mean man and woman, because that's how God created us as one. And he called us both man. So the foundation of this, one of the foundations, I should say, that this movement is built on or built upon is based on a vision that our founder, Minister Rahim Kasset Aton, he received a vision from our creator that instructed him to find peace within themselves and then to teach others to find that peace as well within themselves. Peace of mind, brothers and sisters, is something that you can't go in the store and purchase. Peace of mind is a feeling of being safe and protected. A lot of people get security systems in their home. And one of the reasons they get this security system is because they want to have some peace of mind. They want to have some peace of mind that their home is secure to the point to whereas when they're asleep, they won't wake up to somebody standing over them. They feel safe, and this is a physical peace, and of course mentally you feel at peace. But now, what is the opposite of peace of mind? And then we want to look at, is this something that we're actually experiencing and living right now today, the opposite of peace? Let's look at this. Check this out. The opposite of having peace of mind would be a feeling of being conflicted. We feeling conflicted today? We fighting good and evil today? The conflict going back and forth. 1 minute, I got an angel on my shoulder, and the next minute the devil is working. I ain't speaking outside now. I'm talking within. The internal angel, the internal devils that we are conflicted with, and then we have to deal with every day. But a lot of us don't even really pay attention to the fact that we are fighting a war and wonder why we call this a warship service. We are at war. But some people probably be like, man, people over there at Toma is crazy. We ain't at war. I beg to differ, brothers and sisters. We are at war. We are fighting within ourselves to be good when evil is so easy to be. You know, the opposite of peace is also being at war, being in distress, being agitated, being irritated. Are we experiencing this today, brothers and sisters? And if we are, then I can understand now why the Creator gave our leader, teacher, and guide a vision of finding peace within. That peace of mind that gives you that feeling of safety, that feeling of being protected. We can't even let our kids go outside and play because we don't feel at peace. We don't feel safe doing that. So how did we get this way, brothers and sisters? How did we get here? The Creator gave me something, and we're going to talk on it a little bit later. It's called reverse engineering. It's a word that's been out forever. White people use it all the time. Probably other ethnic groups, the Japanese, Chinese. For some reason, we as Black people, we don't really. Well, I can't say we never heard of it, but we never had a reason to use it. Probably because we didn't know what it really was. But we're going to go into that in a little bit. But the main reason for us being like this is in the Holy Bible. Jesus spoke of it in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 4 and 5. And we quote this scripture all the time, but I wonder if we really understand what the real value of it. Verse 4 reads, "And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many." Excuse me. Now, deception, brothers and sisters, deception is a very powerful thing that we are. My last lecture that I gave last month was what was the name of it? What we've learned to live with. We've learned to live with the wrong. And deception is one of those wrongs we've learned to live with. We've learned to live with the fact that people lie to us. We've learned to live with the fact that people aren't always what they seem to be or present themselves to be to us. We've learned to live with that. We've accepted that. But when God created humanity, and when he created us in his image and after his likeness, which Minister Harker was kind of alluding to earlier, because if you really read in the Holy Bible, in the book of Genesis, there seems to be two creations that took place. One was where God created man in his image and after his likeness. and gave them dominion. And the other one, he said that he made man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils, and he became a living soul. I'm scratching my bald head now because I was led to believe that there was only one creation. But that's not my lecture. I just wanted to bring that point out. You know, like that talk show host used to say, what is his name? Hey man, Arsenio Hall used to say something that just make you say, you know, we're gonna drop that little nugget and we're gonna keep it moving. But look, truth is what God created us. He created us in truth and in righteousness. And in John, the book of John in the Holy Bible, chapter 8, verse 32, it said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Well, let's just hear that verse, and they say it shall set you free. But it's actually make you free. Because see, to set you free means somebody let you free. To make you free means you did the work and made it happen. You did it. You made yourself free. Make yourself free. And so, in this understanding of deception and falsehood, it's an act or statement that misleads. See, when you deceive somebody, you're misleading them. And the more I say this, the more I think I'd be hurting people's feelings. But I don't mean to. I don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm just speaking the truth about when you wow. Mm. Oh, the creator boy, he's something else, man. Ah, when when you decide that you want to improve your appearance in some way by putting a sock in your pants or padding a bra, it's deception. When I see a lot of sisters with these eyelashes, they don't like their hair, how God made their hair, so they wear wigs. Or we get extensions. Or I seen this movie and I spoke of it last week. It's called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Whereas this brother, he took a sister home, and they were gonna do like most sinful folks do. They was finna get busy. And the sister went in the bedroom and while she was taking her clothes off, she took her arm off, she took her butt off, she took one of her breasts off, and she had a false eye. Now, I'm sure this brother didn't think that's what he was getting when he brought her home. So my point is that when you mislead people, when you hide the truth or promote a belief or a concept or an idea that is not true, it is often done for personal gain. You know, you say everybody wants to feel loved. Everybody wants to feel beautiful, or the word they're using for it now is sexy. But beauty and sex, even though they're kind of making them interchangeable today, they have nothing to do with each other. Beauty, even we've been taught, or we're being taught, I should say, that beauty is an outward expression. You know, You have beautiful eyes, you have beautiful hair, you have beautiful skin, you know, you have a beautiful shape. All these outward exterior things, when in all actuality, beauty is an inward thing. You have a beautiful spirit. You have a beautiful personality. You see what I'm saying? This is where beauty really lies. But because we live in a satanic world, and I proved that the last time I spoke. Y'all go back and look at the video. The wrong we've learned to live with. Look at that video. We've we've been duped into believing that wrong is right and right is wrong. And so it's okay to mislead and hide the truth from people because everybody else is doing it. It's okay. But you have to understand, beloved, that God created us in truth. That means it's truth that drives us as spiritual human beings. Truth, not falsehood. So this, the deception is also involved dealing with propaganda. You know, during the election year, you know, this is like election year. There's a lot of propaganda going around. You know, they were saying all this stuff about Pritzker. They were saying all this stuff about Lightfoot. They say stuff about everybody. You know, they call it campaigning, but it's really mudslinging, you know, and propaganda. What is really propaganda? Propaganda is only information that people give out to give you an impression of a person that may or may not really be true. You know, during the time of Hitler, he used to spread propaganda about the Jews. And he would say that if you let a Jew move into your neighborhood, that the grass would stop growing. Wow, does that sound familiar? Somebody said the same thing about Negroes. You let them Negroes move on your block, the grass don't stop growing. What else did they say? Well, Hitler said rats and roaches would follow them. And you have rats and roaches in your community. Did we hear that about Black people? Yeah. I wonder, the same people that were wrongly done by Hitler now is using Hitler's tactics on somebody else. Propaganda. Using this information, or misinformation, I should call it, to paint a picture of a people or a race of people. Now, the Creator just put this in my head, and I'm just going here with it. I have a belief that people that are victims of abuse, there's a large percentage of those abused victims that will in turn evolve into becoming a person that inflicts that same victimology on somebody else. Now, what am I really saying? I'll give you a perfect example. And for some reason, the world that we live in seems to understand it when it comes to other races other than us. R. Kelly was abused by his sister when he was young, molested, raped by his sister. As he grew up, those tendencies, then he began to become the thing that he hated. He didn't like the fact that his sister molested him. He became a molester. Mm, Is that a sickness? It sounds like one to me. But for some reason, the rulers of this world, the people that make the laws, the people that run this country, seem to understand it when it's a white person. He's ill, he needs help. He needs to go into a detox center if he's an alcoholic or a drug addict. He needs to go and have some counseling, some kind of therapy. If the things that he's operating with is from a psychological perspective. But when it's us, therapy is not even an issue. They didn't even think about therapy for R. Kelly. And it's open knowledge. Everybody knew this. I hope everybody knew this because I didn't think it was a secret that he was molested as a child and never got any help. Now, how many people have become a predator and a pedophile simply because they were exposed to it as a child? And I'm saying that everybody that was molested becomes a pedophile. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it happens. And if it happens, brothers and sisters, then we have to understand that it's happening and we have to put something in place in order to correct the wrong that has been done. This is again why, remember I said earlier, keep this concept in your mind and really study and research it. Reverse engineering. When reverse engineer something, you take a finished product, you don't know how it ended up like this. See, I'm gonna give you a better example. My favorite cake is a pineapple cream cheesecake, right? You ain't never had nothing like it in your life. I'm telling you. If you eat, I'm just like that. I tell you, the best cake on the planet. Pineapple cream cheese, right? I have no idea how to make one. I don't even know how to make a cake. But if I wanted to make a cake, I would start with a finished product, right? And to reverse engineer, you would start with, okay, I know I need pineapples. I know I need cream cheese, right? See, I'm going in reverse in order to figure out how to make the finished product. What else do you need to make cake? Eggs, right? I think you need eggs. Flour. I tell you, I know how to make a cake. I have no idea, but I think it's eggs and flour and vanilla extract or something. Is that yes? And so if I've figured out all these ingredients is needed in order to make the finished product, I have just reverse engineered this pineapple cream cheesecake. Now, the only thing I have to do now is figure out how much did the person that made this used in order to get it to taste like it's tasting. So that means I got to do some experimenting. I might make 10 of these things before I actually get the right balance of pineapples or the right balance of the cream cheese or the right balance of eggs. All that stuff has to be taken into consideration. So if I'm reverse engineering pain, if I'm reverse engineering fear, then I already start with the end product, which is a person that's damaged because of pain. So to reverse engineer it, I know I left off the paper, Evan. I'm sorry. I can't help it, but this is what came up. To reverse engineer fear, you have to then look at all the ingredients that made up the fear. Seeing people get shot, hearing gunshots, I mean, there's so many things that go into fear. Being abused, uh, being beat up in school when you were young, having your lunch money taken. You know, um, being made to believe that at any point on your job you can get fired for any little mistake. You see what I'm saying? Say again. Seeing your parents abuse or seeing one parent abuse the other. You see what I'm saying? It creates a fear. Now, in order to figure out or to know, because see, now we're not trying to reproduce fear. We're trying to now get back to where we were before all these ingredients were applied to the cake. Because see, I could put some other things in the cake, and my pineapple cream cheesecake would be something else. You see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is if I added all kind of other things to my pineapple cream cheesecake, walnuts, nutmeg, all kind of different stuff. If I added all that stuff to it and it messed up my pineapple cream cheesecake where it ain't pineapple cream cheese no more, then my reverse engineering would be to take the nutmeg out, but I got to know it's there. I have to get rid of the walnuts, but I have to know that it's there. I have to accept the fact that it's there. And then reverse engineering would be taking those things out so that now that once I do that, I'll be back to my original pineapple cream cheesecake. Let us make man again. See, we can make man again. All we have to do is take out the crap that Satan put in. This thing about sex, you know, I, I'll ask anybody, any Bible scholar, whoever, to show me in this book what God taught man and woman to have sex. I got $100. If it can show me, and I know people don't say, be fruitful and multiply. That's the crap everybody keeps saying. That means sex. That's what that means. Okay. Now we got a young man in the audience right now. How old is that young man? He's about 3, 4, something. Okay, he's 3. If I told that young man be fruitful and multiply, is he gonna know how to have sex? So show me how being fruitful and multiplied turned into sex. It don't make sense, brothers and sisters. We have to think for a change. And if that's your only defense, and nowhere in here can you see where God taught man and woman to have sex, then how did we learn it? How did we learn to have sexual intercourse? In the beginning, they said we had on fig leaves, and I mean, no, we were naked. I'm sorry, we were naked. But then after this proverbial eating of the apple, all of a sudden we decided that we need to cover that stuff up. You know, if we look in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, I believe it's chapter 3. I'm gonna go to it real quick. It talks about a serpent that beguiled, oh, here it is again, deceived, tricked, those are some other words that Eve tricked up. I'm going to read this for you. It says, in chapter 3, it says, and this is the first verse. It says, now the serpent was more subtle, and we know what subtle is, slick. He was we call it Slick Willie. I ain't talking about you, Will. He was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, let me stop right there real quick. Now, we all know that serpents don't talk, right? Serpents don't talk, even though as kids, we are programmed to believe that animals talk. Charlotte's Web, pigs and Dr. Doolittle, all these animals talking, right? We can made to believe that animals talk, but when we get a little older, we come to the reality, like we do about Santa Claus, but that's not my conversation. We come to the reality that it's not real. Animals don't talk. Now, they're talking about a serpent talking to Eve. Now, this don't make sense, but we let people teach and preach to us in this without question, saying, but if serpents don't talk, then how is this serpent talking to Eve? And the usual thing, well, with God, anything is possible. Back in the biblical days, they could talk. You wasn't there, so you just got to accept it, right? But there's another option. You mind if I give you another option to what this really was about? Have you ever heard somebody refer to a person as a dog? That nigga a dog. Negro's a snake. Is he a real snake? Is he a real dog? He's exhibiting the characteristics of a snake, meaning that he's a slithery type nigga. He's don't give a, like dogs. Dogs will screw anybody, anything. Anything with a hole. That's the definition of a dog, ain't it? So if this was a person in the garden, this exhibiting serpent characteristics. It said he was soft. Serpents, what, forked tongue? Truth with one side of the tongue and then the lie on the other side, and they work together, causing deception. So if this was a dude, I'll be making real clear. There's a dude in the garden talking to Eve, right? Now, with that understanding, now let's read the rest of this and see if we can make any sense out of it. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, or dude, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Okay, now let's look at this. They're talking about eating fruit from trees, right? Everybody talking about this forbidden fruit, which they say is an apple, right? Now, think. This forbidden fruit is an apple whose logo is an apple with a bite missing. Come on now, y'all ain't making the connection. What organization, company, whatever, their logo is an apple. There's nothing wrong with having an apple as a logo, but why is there a bite out of it? The forbidden fruit was something that apples, so they said, it was an apple that they bit, that was bitten from, and it was forbidden, right? So you tell me, if this book that's supposedly written with God's inspiration or whatever, if this book says that this fruit was forbidden, then what do you think about the company that carries the logo of something that's forbidden? And it's $1 billion corporation. I'm not surprised. This is already Satan's world. Why not have his corporation? Oh, did I just say Apple was Satan's corporation?
Steve.
You know what? I try to make sense out of stuff. I don't just take stuff for face value, what people tell me, and you can take what I'm saying for face value. Research it. But I'm saying here that if there are trees, and Eve is saying that God said that they could eat from the fruit of the trees of the garden. Now, is this really about trees and fruit? What's being said here? If it is, then you can continue on without understanding of the Bible that don't make sense. I mean, let's just be real. This don't make sense. Serpents don't talk. Now, if you go a little further, you'll understand why these trees in the garden couldn't be trees. You read a little further, you see if you agree with me. It says in verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to go to verse 3. It says, but the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, God said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. There we go. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods. Little g's, not a big G, knowing good and evil. And then the woman saw, here it is, verse 6. And then the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes. And the tree to be desired to make one wise. I'm sorry. This tree makes you wise. I can go with, because some people are into plants and stuff like that. Oh, it's a beautiful tree. It's pretty. Oh, it's a handsome tree. It's a beautiful tree. A tree to be desired to make one wise is not a description that you would get from a tree. Trees don't make you wise. Even if you eat the fruit of the tree, you ain't finna be wise. So that means, what is really being said here? What is this tree? And then what are we talking about? I mean, because let's just be real. My son is my fruit. Fruit of my horns. I've heard that too. Check this out. Because fruit, because they're talking about something that you are consuming, that you are eating, right? Now, is fruit or food the only thing that you eat? You're eating right now.
Yeah.
Y'all eating my words. You either gonna eat them or you're gonna spit them out. So that means fruit also can be defined as doctrine or teaching. Now, if fruit is actually dealing with teaching, then now let's go back to forbidding fruit. Forbidding teaching was being taught in the garden that Adam and Eve was not supposed to receive. And that forbidding teaching caused them to realize they was naked. We know what the forbidden teaching was, don't we? It's right after it. Here come Cain and Abel. They didn't just pop by osmosis. So she took this root, drink, teaching, thereof, and eat, and gave it also to her husband with her, and he did eat. So this Negro, I'll just say that, because we don't know, well, we'll just leave it at that. In the garden, he looked to Eve, it's like, what's up, sweetie? You know, before I even go there, we need to deal with the tree part. Why do they refer to these things as trees and the fruit of the tree? Now, are we familiar with a thing called a family tree? Does that represent some tree that's sitting in the backyard and everybody say this is our family trees? You know, no, we know that's not what that's talking about, because this ancestry thing deals a lot with family tree, right? And if you look at trees, trees have a root, right? Families have a root. There's what is it called? A patriarch or a matriarch of the family, and they, the oldest in the family, represent the root of the tree. Now, branches begin to stem from the tree. Y'all know from ancestry, they use trees as a mean to show you how your cousin is a branch over here, and you got cousins over there, and then they break them down into little leaves and all of this stuff, right? So now, if this tree in the garden that we're talking about, and God is telling Adam and Eve, you can learn from and be taught by these trees or these individuals, these families that are in the garden. But the one that's in the midst, excuse me, of the garden, you shall not, what did it say? It says, you shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So now, let's look at Satan, the devil. He was cast out of heaven to the earth. I got about 20 minutes. Now, during this time, brothers and sisters, we need to know where what do you think Lucifer, Satan, whoever, where he came to on the planet Earth when he got kicked out and received dominion over the earth for 6,000 years? And I know some people gonna question me. That go back to my lecture. I explain it. And it's again, another reason why we read the Bible and the Quran. Because in the Quran, it tells us the story about what happened in heaven, which caused Lucifer to get kicked out, whereas the Bible don't tell you that story. It just says a war took place in heaven, and a third of the angels got kicked out with Lucifer. That's all you get out of the Bible. But the Quran goes into why. So, I was reading. In this tree, in the midst of the garden, because understand something. Like a bike wheel, we've all seen bike wheels, right? It's round. and it has spokes, right? And all these spokes in the wheel are connected to the center. There's a center point in the wheel that if you did not have that center point, the wheel would not be able to keep its round form because it's all focused on the center of attention, the center, the leader. The leader is at the center. So that if Satan was cast out of heaven and he's on the earth, and in the Quran, I got to read this real quick so that you all can understand that I'm not making this up. Where is this in the Quran? I think it's in Surah 7. Give me a minute. I didn't prepare to teach on this. So give me a minute. I was not prepared for this. I was teaching on something else. But still, this is let us make man again. Let me see. Do I see it? If I can't find it, I'm gonna just quote it. Maybe it's 11. It might be 2. Wait a minute. I think it might be in 2. But anyway, I'm gonna just go ahead and quote it. Because and I wish I could read it. Okay, I don't know. The Quran teaches us that in heaven, God commanded all of the angels to bow down to Adam. And all the angels bow down except Iblis or Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. He refused to bow down. And then God asked Iblis. Iblis is the Arabic name again for Lucifer. And he asked Lucifer, why did you not bow down when I commanded you? Is it chapter 7? Beautiful. Thank you. I figured it was in 7. Sorry, right at 11. Surely you created. Okay. There you go. All right. So good. I'm glad you found this. I don't want them to think I'm making this up. Chapter 7, Surah 7, verse 11. It said, it is we who created you and gave you shape. Then we bade the angels bow down to Adam, and they bowed down. Not so Iblis. He refused to be of those who bowed down. Allah God said, what prevented thee from bowing down when I commanded thee? And he says, I am better than he. Thou did create me from fire and him from clay. Allah God says, get thee down from this. It is not for thee to be arrogant here. Get out. Thou art of the manifest of thou art of the meanest of creatures. He said, now this is Iblis or Lucifer saying now, on his way out the door. Now God giving him the boot, right? On his way out, he says, give me respite to the day they are raised up. Respite meaning time. Give me time, God. Okay, you putting me out, but give me time until the day you raise them up, which is an indication that until we are raised up, we are going to be low. Which is where we are. The bottom of the bottom, right? Which is another indication of who God's people are. He says, give me respite till the day they are raised up. And Allah God said, but be thou amongst those who have respite. So that means he gave him time. And he said, because thou hast thrown me out of the way. Lo, I will lie in wait for them on the straight way. Then I will assault them from before them and behind them, from their right and their left. For wilt thou find in most of them gratitude for thy mercies. So Lucifer's saying, okay, you put me out, but give me time. Give me time before you raise them up. And I will promise you that I'm going to lay in wait for them in the straight way, in the righteous way. What place on the planet Earth was more righteous than the garden? So what's Lucifer saying? I'm going to wait in the garden for them. And I will attack them. That's the word he used. He didn't say approach. He said attack them. And you will find most of them not grateful for the mercies that you have shown them. So, what am I saying? That Lucifer was in the garden. He, being the most subtle of creatures, approached Eve and deceived her into believing that if she ate of his doctrine, his teaching, she will be a God just like God. Now, do we see where this feminine equal, what's it called? This 50-50, I'm just as good as you. You're not no better than me because you're a man, I'm a woman, and we equal in this thing. Equality. See, this is the seed that Lucifer or Satan, because when he got to the earth, his name changed. Satan planted in Eve in order to get her to eat or to receive what he was teaching. Wow. He tricking you. He holding you back. Girl, what's the other term he used? He don't want you to be great. He holding you back. He lying to you because if you get what I'm teaching you here, sister, you're gonna be a God just like him. And she like, oh, and so this is the beginning of it. And we now everything from that point all the way up into now is us adding walnuts and pecans and everything else to our to my pineapple cream cheese cake. We added all this crap to my pineapple cheesecake now, and there ain't a pineapple cheesecake no more. We even say we can even agree to say that black people are almost I ain't gonna say almost. We're more white than white people. More European than the European, right? So now, how do we get back to our greatness? We keep saying it. We're going to get back to our once greatness, when we were in the Nile, and the ancient kingdom and all that stuff. That teaching is good. Can't use ancient Kim today with niggas. Niggas don't know nothing about ancient Kim. But we need to understand how a nigga was created. See, this is why my lecture today is let us make man again. Because I'm tired of niggas. So we need to reverse engineer this nigga back into a man. Can't do that unless we have to accept the realities that Satan has added all these different ingredients to us. Spite, hate, jealousy, envy, lust, desire. All of these things were added to us. When we were in the garden, originally before, when we were naked, those things were not present with us. We were taught these things. We were taught to kill by the white man. Some people say, the white man never opened up the school to teach people how to kill. Yes, he did. He called it the army, the military. And he teaches us to kill. Man, I'm way off this paper. How much? Oh, I ain't got no time. I only got 5 minutes. Well, there's one point I want to make before we get out of here. Because, see, in the temple and even with God, marriage, see, Adam and Eve, well, I ain't going to go there. I'll just say this. Marriage is the recipe that begins the process of creating the black family, or the God-fearing black family. I'll put it like that. Marriage, not shacking up. Now, shacking up begins the process of creating the satanic black family. Y'all feeling it? 3 more? I got 3 minutes. Oh, yeah. Shacking up does that. Because, see, there's no responsibility. There's no, I've got to hang in here for the long haul mentality kind of thinking. You know, I even noticed this, that back in the days when we were black men and black women and we were getting married, our families were much larger. 10, 15 kids. You see what I'm saying? Now, what I'm going to tell you now is to show you why it's not like that anymore. Check this out. Did you know that before you got married, you had to have a blood test? Back in the day, they used to make you, before you can get a marriage license, you had to have a blood test. And I don't know when they stopped it, but they didn't create a law saying that you can't do it. They just said you can get married and you ain't got to. So that means, you already know how we are. If I ain't got to do it, I ain't gonna do it. What was the reason why we were asked to get a blood test before we got married? Check this out. Let me read a little story that I found online. It's pretty interesting. It says back in the day, it took a blood test. The names I'm just using in this article is Jack and Jill. Okay, it took a blood test for Jack and Jill, to save their marriage. The couple who got married in 2016 battled childlessness, which mounted a lot of pressure on them, especially Jill. Jill stated how she experienced miscarriages anytime she got pregnant for the first 2 years of their marriage. She said each time the miscarriage occurred, she was depressed. Understandably so, being a would-be mother would feel sad about pregnancy loss. The situation continued until mid-2018 when Jill and her husband relocated to another town. I ain't gonna go into all that and skip that part of where they relocated to and everything. Okay, now when they got to this other town, they were advised to visit a consultant who asked them to do a blood test, which they never did before they had got married. There was it was one health clinic where they came from. So after that, when they got to this place, they went to a clinic. But after the blood test, it was revealed that the couple's blood type was incompatible. Because while Jack had A positive blood type and Jill was B negative blood type, medical experts explain why the blood type of the couple is a serious issue, especially when planning a family. So, what's that saying? Because of their incompatibility of their blood, she was having miscarriages. Now, if I'm trying to stunt the growth of your race, then miscarriage is a good thing for me. And so if I tell you you ain't got to get a blood test when you get married, you think you're doing good because you're getting married. By not having that blood test to recognize whether your blood types are compatible, you are putting yourself in a position where you can have problems raising a family, or the woman will have problems. Zero, I'm out of time. Where the woman will have problems having children, and that will cause problems in the relationship, and that's why we have a lot of the challenges that we're having today, financial, and the fact that sex, and I'm gonna continue this, but it just ain't gonna be today. But why all of these things play a part in why we are in the condition that we're in, and we have to know all this stuff so that we know now what to do. We know one thing that we can do to reverse engineer this thing before we have sex. Get a blood test. I leave you as I greet you in the ancient but yet holy words of peace. Hotep, shalom, assalamu alaikum, habaragani, alafia, and Ashe. Peace.
In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power.
I'm back.
Wow, that was a wonderful lecture from Minister Omari. Wow, let us make man again. I kind of try to remind him every time he starts speaking that when we appear at the podium, we never stay on the paper. I've never seen Minister Raheem ever get past the first page of something he wrote up. But with that being said, thank you for all who have enjoyed this stream. If you enjoyed what you heard, first and foremost, come and join us here at 616 East 71st Street each and every Sunday. As well, donate to our movement. Donate to our movement. You can Cash App us or go to Givelify, but our Cash App is simply # Toma Nation to support. We just ask for you to support us, join us, and thank you for listening. And come and always help what God gives to us to deliver unto you. And let us continue to make man again. Peace.
In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power!